I get it. Of course, we know that God is supreme and with him all things are possible and he can fix everything. But there is a place of sharing. There is a reason why you have a pastor. There is a reason why you have the departments, the welfare department, the this, the that. If you don't have it, there's a reason why you have a pastor. I mean, I can't stress enough. Why do we go to church? Why are we listening to, our pastor preaching a message and then we feel that we can't confide in that person to help us navigate through this secrecy, because the reason why you're keeping it a secret is because of the magnitude of it, and also the shame that you think.
Yeah, shame and the guilt, disappointment, all sorts of different things.
All sorts of different things that, to be honest with you, it's an assumption. Because, a guy said, a preacher said, a cry out is not from... How's it? A cry, a help of cry, or what is it? A cry of help.
Sorry, I'm trying to think, but I can't
cry
remember.
of help is not from the weak; it is from the wise. What does that mean? It means that, it is wisdom. It takes wisdom for you
to be able to speak out, right? Yeah, and to be transparent. And we are talking about culture again. So we first spoke about culture in relationships, right? And this time we're going to talk about culture in the church. This one is a bit somehow. I feel like it's a bit somehow because, to be honest with you, there is actually a church culture.
Yeah.
Whether or not we know that, I don't know. I don't know if we've actually realised that there's some type of culture within the church. And I'll give the best example possible, which is that, you need to keep your business to yourself. Like, you can't be sharing your struggles with people, or you shouldn't be sharing your struggles with people. And that's a very, churchy thing, because you kind of don't want someone to look at you and feel like, oh, but you're a Christian, so, you're struggling with that? What? But at the end of the day, we are all struggling with something, right?
Right.
I mean, we go to church to be healed. We don't like I've always heard that saying that, you go to the doctor to get healing, right? Same with the church. You go to church to get healing. You don't go to church perfect, you go for healing, for guidance. So there's no point in you turning up there not having any struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the secrecy that we kind of make people, how do I say it, they just have to be,
keep everything
to themselves. They can't be open. That secrecy is brutal and it is lethal. And I don't know if a lot of you would have heard, the famous singer Osinachi that was a victim of domestic abuse on the hands of her husband because of this secrecy. It's like, I get it. Of course, we know that God is supreme and with him all things are possible and he can fix everything. But there is a place of sharing. There is a reason why you have a pastor. There is a reason why you have the departments, the welfare department, the this, the that. If you don't have it, there's a reason why you have a pastor. I mean, I can't stress enough. Why do we go to church? Why are we listening to our pastor preaching a message and then we feel that we can't confide in that person to help us navigate through this secrecy, because the reason why you're keeping it a secret is because of the magnitude of it, and also the shame that you think.
Yeah, shame and the guilt, disappointment, all sorts of different things.
All sorts of different things that, to be honest with you, it's an assumption. Because, a guy said, a preacher said, a cry out is not from, how's it? A cry, a help of cry, or what is it? A cry of help.
Sorry, I'm trying to think, but I can't
remember. A cry
of
help is not from the weak; it is from the wise. What does that mean? It means that, you know, it is wisdom. It takes wisdom for you
to be able to speak out, right? Yeah, and to be transparent. Because at the end of the day, you're not trying to wash your dirty linen out in public. No, you're not. Far from that. I feel like there's that mentality that, like, if I say this, then I'm sharing my whole business. No, you're actually being wise, because at the end of the day, you realize that you don't know how to handle that situation. Like, it's almost like the situation has become way bigger than you, you know? So you're seeking counsel from someone else in order to understand how to handle that situation. Like, I don't even know. When I think about Osinachi's case, right, or situation, I don't even know, like, what must have been going through her mind for her to not feel that she could confide in someone, you know, and share that. And I feel like a lot of us, sometimes we go through those same emotions where we don't want to confide, maybe because we think they might judge us, or we think that they might look down on us, or we think because I'm in the worship department or I'm in the ushering team, so, you know, if I now say this to someone, they're going to look at me and think differently of me because of what department I'm in. Listen, God is not thinking about your department in that situation. He's thinking about your life. Like, he's thinking about you as his son or his daughter, you know, like, irrespective of where you are in the church, he cares about your well-being and he cares about your life. I can't even stress that enough.
Yeah, I mean, and to the point that obviously she died, you know, because she felt that the shame of that it would bring to her family
and her marriage.
But you are a woman, a minister. Imagine how freeing that would be for another woman to hear that, you know, you left your home. Obviously, listen, we will never be able to understand the sheer pain
that she went through,
how difficult it was day in, day out to live this lie almost, because she would present herself
a certain way to people, right, and in front of the church and in front of churches, and then, you know, behind closed doors, it's like you're living a double life.
Yeah, and then this is now going into her home, in a sense that her sons, her children have seen domestic violence as something that is okay,
normal.
You know, her son was interviewed and actually said that, you know, Daddy said that this is good. It's good to beat women.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
heard that.
So listen, the secrecy, obviously we know that this is not, you know, all churches or whatever, but we're taking this because we have witnessed it ourselves. This is something that people are struggling with. And what better place than to have a home, a church that you can actually, you know, free yourself. But it is there that you're hiding the most.
It's tricky because, you know what, you said to share with your pastor, and I think sometimes a lot of people are afraid, even maybe their pastor might judge them. I don't know, they're thinking maybe that if I say this to my pastor may look at me on the pulpit differently, or, like, you know, look at me in the congregation differently. Okay, cool, but there must be one person in your church that you can share this with. Like, there must be, because for you to be going through, like, I'm not saying you need to be an open book, but you need to be able to be transparent with people. For instance, right? Let's say you're going through something, like, we're all going through something, sorry. So let's say you're going through a lot in a particular period of time, and someone asks you, how are you? Depending on your relationship with that person, right? You can answer the truth, which is, I'm not great, you know, or you can say, I'm good, you know? But I think it's where you have to apply wisdom and know that, okay, this type of person that I'm talking to, I can tell them how I honestly am feeling, because I know that they're going to pour into me. Do you know what I mean? They're going to say something that will encourage me, as opposed to me acting like everything is fine when really I'm at the brink of my lowest moment ever, you know, because we have to really deep it. Like, the enemy actually wants us to be isolated and not talk to people. That's his desire, you know, his objective, to be in isolation, to be on your own, to not have community, and church is community. I get that some people have been through church hurt. Like, I understand that. So I understand why so I understand why sometimes you may not want to tell certain people or tell people in general, but we can't stress it enough.
Damaging.
Yeah, it's like it does more damage. Yeah, it does more damage than good. Not telling anyone at all.
Yeah, and one thing I have to definitely say is that the fear of being preached. You know, this is so funny because, you know, sometimes you'll be going through something and the pastor starts talking and you're thinking, hang on a minute, did I tell someone?
Yeah.
You know, because it is these thoughts that, but this is how God speaks to people. You know, I remember a time that, so I had a falling out, not a falling out, but obviously husband and wife, you have a tiff or whatever. And it was literally like that morning, the first message I heard, like, so in the house, you know, sometimes we'll listen to a message or whatever, was literally about unforgiveness and, you know, the hearts that you take into church to listen to your pastor preaching. And from that moment on, it was like everywhere I was going, I was hearing about unforgiveness, you know, and literally that's how God speaks to you, you know. So it's not a case of, it's about being open to, you know what, I'm struggling with this thing, or I've been affected by something and I need to be free from it. You know, how then are you approaching like your day-to-day life, you know, because God speaks every single moment. And like I said, like you said, actually, yeah, you're right. People have been through church hurt, so they're more closed.
Yeah.
So they're sitting in the congregation, but they're not actually present.
Yeah, they're not present.
They're not present because that hurt has consumed them to the point that, you know, being in church is now just
kind of routine.
Routine, exactly. Just to be there to, you know, register.
Word. Yeah, hear the word and go.
But you are literally, I mean, killing yourself.
Yeah, you're doing more damage, man. I don't know.
Because Osinachi could have spoken, like, I think that she did speak to, like, the counselor.
Some people, right?
But a counselor. But, you know, obviously there's that counselor-patient confidentiality. Okay. But I think when it comes to abuse, there is a place that, you know, what are we as a church? After that, there was a whole windfall of women coming out, but it didn't have to take the death of one woman,
right? Yeah.
For then, you know,
I don't know. I feel like we definitely need to talk about that in
and
another.
It's not scriptural.
Yeah, in another video, even because it's serious how a lot of abuse can be going on in the church, and the church is not even aware.
Yeah,
and that in itself is mad.
Yeah, it makes you feel like the messages that are preached, you know, what are they? How are they centered, or you know, in terms of like different departments, you know. Again, these are I don't know, but I have to be honest to say that from even like speaking to a lot of my friends who go to church, one thing that is prevalent is the secrecy. So when they tell me things and I'm like, oh, well, have you spoken to your pastor about this? And they're like, no.
They're like, no.
You know, have you spoken to your pastor's wife about it? Like who
no.
are you talking to? I'm like, no, just my friends. Like, I can't say that in church. But that's where you should say it.
Okay, so you see, that means then we need to let go of that assumption that we can't tell our pastor everything, or like, I don't know. Of course, maybe you don't want to tell your pastor everything, right? Yeah, sometimes, right?
No, it's not definitely about everything.
But you need to be able to feel comfortable to tell your pastor the things that are pressing and the things that are, I guess, detrimental to your life, right? You know, like going through abuse or mental issues, like mental challenges and things like that. So mental health issues, and things like that. So I feel like we definitely kind of need to work on having, I guess, more of a better understanding of the pastor and church relationship, maybe. Yeah. So that we can feel comfortable to go to our pastors and have those conversations. Because sometimes you're right. I've spoken to people as well where they've said the same thing, like, oh no, I haven't told my pastor. And I'm thinking, oh, but like, why wouldn't you tell your pastor then? Like, do you not have that kind of relationship? Yeah.
And that's the thing,
that's worrying. Yeah, they probably don't. That's worrying. Of course, you know, if you go to a massive church, it's understandable, like those mega churches, that you may not be able to have access to your pastor like that. But even if you don't have access to your pastor like that, don't you have access to another pastor in the church, or another person in a leadership role where you feel comfortable to talk to them? And if it's a thing whereby you're like, oh, you know what, I don't want to talk about it, like, no, I don't feel like anyone should know, then you see, that's where you're going wrong, because at the end of the day, they're there to help you. It's not everybody that's put into a leadership position, you know, it's certain people and they are there to help you. So take that advantage and, you know, run with it, you know, get the help that you need. Feel find someone that you're comfortable with to talk to in a leadership position. We can't stress it enough, because at the end of the day, your life is kind of dependent on it, you know. You don't want to be going to church and, of course, receiving the word and hearing the message, and then it's great, and you know, your life is being transformed, but there's still issues that are going on because you have kept your mouth closed and you haven't been open the way God wants you to be open.
Yeah, and it's scriptural. I mean, the Bible does talk about, you know, if you are sick, call the elders to pray for you, you know? So sickness is not just about, oh, I had a headache or I've got a cold or whatever. It is that thing that is, you know, literally crippling you and making you feel like every day it's haunting you, you know. Oh, I'm struggling with pornography, or I'm struggling with sex, or I'm struggling with smoking, or whatever it is. That thing, so long as it is something that you know that you want to free yourself from, there has to be a place where you say, do you know what, I need to be. How are you going to be accountable? It's not your friend that I'm not saying you shouldn't be accountable to your friends, but there is a place for the church. The church are the ones that should be playing the primary role, you know, because they are the ones that are spiritually
equipped,
leading you through life. So if you can say, oh, Pastor, please pray for me, I'm going for this job interview. Why can't you say, Pastor, pray for me because I'm struggling with this?
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. You know, that's true. That's
that doesn't mean that your relationship with the pastor's surface.
Yeah,
you know?
or you're not really trying to have that type of relationship where you can talk about almost anything really, or share your life. You know, your struggles and your lows and your highs.
Yeah. I knew a guy that once said to me that, oh, you know, whatever my pastor says, you know, that's what I do. Whatever my pastor says, that's what I do. And unfortunately, he was like a man them, you know, so he had a lot of girlfriends. So I said to him, oh, so does pastor know that you have all these? He was, what were you talking about? Like, oh, no, pastor's not privy to this part of my life, you know. So it just came back to me now. Like, actually, it's true. A double life. 90% of people are living a double life and it is killing them in more ways than they actually know. Like, don't wait for, you know, someone that you know to die from. Talk about it and tell. It's even to the point where if you know that someone is suffering from something, you should even say to them, listen, I'm going to tell pastor on your behalf.
If you don't,
you know, because I feel like if someone had even said that to Osinachi, she would have still been alive. You know, if someone had threatened her, obviously we don't go around making threats. You know what I mean?
Threatened her in love, basically.
Threatened her in love, you know.
It's just
this is like, literally, this is like the icing, like at the surface of this conversation. It is so
there's a
deep.
lot, I know, because obviously there's a lot more than what we even know that goes on in church, and the way people feel and the way that they relate with each other. So it's like, it's just so tricky. But what we really want to get out there, right, is that you need to have a place of openness.
Yeah.
You need to understand the need for openness, especially with those in leadership roles in your church, your pastor, you know, vice pastors and all of that. You know, there's a reason why they're there. They're not just there to pray for you when you have a job interview, like you said. They're there for you for all of the difficulties and all of the good moments as well in life, you know. So let's not not put them there for the great moments. No, let's put them there for all of them.
For everything.
Even when you're struggling to even get to know God, like, that's the thought that comes to my mind, you know. You talk to them as well, like, I actually don't want to, you know, have this relationship with God anymore. Like, I'm tired. Like, you know, of course you'll find, you know, that person that you can talk to like that. But if you don't word it like that, of course, you be yourself and say, you know, I'm struggling and I don't really want to, you know, continue this walk, or I'm struggling to continue this walk, or, you know, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it cuts across every single area, especially with, you know, relationships, because I know that with divorce, when you mention that word divorce, you know,
to a pastor, innit?
To a pastor, it's
it gets
like,
techy.
You know, but yeah, counseling, there's a reason why church counseling is there, you know. Obviously, no pastor wants you to get to the point of divorce. But again, Osinachi, if that was the only thing to keep her alive, come on. We know that the Bible doesn't condone divorce, but the Bible doesn't say that you should die in the hands of a man, you know. So we need to get to a place with church where we are speaking the same language. The culture is be free, be open, and we welcome you. We love you. And we know that so long as you want to change, we're ready to walk with you. We're not here to judge you and, you know, oh, you're singing in church. But, you know.
Yeah, but yesterday you were moving a bit.
That is, literally, that is it. And that's the fear that
A lot of people have,
especially the young people coming up. Christianity is not the fastest growing religion anymore. You know, it is not. Why? Because, again, it's that church culture. Christians are the first ones to attack. These are the comments that you see like in a lot of posts on Instagram, like, oh, you know, this is why I don't mess around with Christians, because, you know, they'll be the first people to attack you or to talk about you or whatever. That why? And if outsiders are saying this,
how much more insiders, you know?
You know, it's worrying. So I think for me, the message that I want to pass on is that your life is valuable. It is valuable to not just the world, but for yourself as well. You know, think about all the great things that you could do. You know, your purpose, your gifts, your talents, all these things. Don't suffer in silence for the sake of, you know,
saving face.
Keeping up appearances. Why? You know, free yourself from whatever it is that is haunting you and tormenting you. Find that person, because they are there. You know, they really are there. And again, just keep praying, you know, keep praying and believing that God can and God will. But it takes that one step. He's not going to just, you know, come down. Pastor always says that, you know, God's not just going to come down right in front of you. He's going to use man. That's why he created man.
Use people. That's true. That is so true. I think you've said it all, honestly. That I don't have anything else to say, because that is 100% true. He's going to use people. And how much more the people in your church?
How much more the people in your church, you know? So, yeah, we love you guys. And, you know, again, if any of you, if you're going through anything, you know, we will be more than happy to pray with you, pray for you. So just, you know, DM us on our Instagram page
or write a comment and just, you know, let us know that you're going to DM us or whatever, you know, just get in touch.
Get in touch. And, you know, if you're in the UK, then even better, we could, you know, reach out to you and come and fellowship with us, you know. But one thing we want to just keep pressing and keep telling you is that life is important. Your life is important. Your life is valuable. You are valuable. You are important. So, yeah. Yeah,
that's it. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so Uche, what actually makes someone a good friend?